Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by Paychex, one of the leading providers of HR, payroll, retirement, and software solutions for businesses of all sizes. My name is Steve Boese. Tone-deaf former executives' advice for laid-off workers? Drive an Uber. In the latest example of wealthy and out-of-touch executives not understanding what average workers encounter in a turbulent labor market, we have this story from the video game development world. What should you do if you're one of the thousands of tech workers who've just been laid off? Take a coastal trip or join the gig economy until the market recovers. At least that's according to ex-Sony Computer Entertainment Europe president Chris Deering. Mr. Deering, who led Sony's European PlayStation business from 1995 to 2005, compared widespread job cuts in the gaming industry to being like the pandemic, while downplaying the role of corporate greed and dishing out controversial advice to impacted workers. You're going to have to take a few to figure out how to get through it. Drive an Uber or whatever, he said in a recent interview. Find a cheap place to live or go to the beach for a year. For some context, over 20,000 workers in the gaming industry have been laid off since the start of 2023. And additionally, since that time, around 645,000 tech workers have been laid off, with many sectors of technology being hit hard along with the video gaming industry. This year through May alone, more than 10,000 gaming workers lost their jobs, surpassing the total number of layoffs in the industry for the entire year of 2023. Sony, where Mr. Deering formerly led, laid off 900 PlayStation employees, or around 8% of its workforce in February, and shut down its London studios. Other game developers, including Microsoft and Unity, have similarly downsized their studios this year, cutting nearly 4,000 jobs at the start of the year. At the time, Sony's then CEO Jim Ryan said the cost-cutting measures were to streamline their resources. And meanwhile, Unity's interim chief CEO Jim Whitehurst explained that their company was reducing the number of things we are doing in order to focus on our core business and drive our long-term success and profitability, he wrote in an internal memo. Despite these comments, Mr. Deering said, "I don't think it's fair to say that the resulting layoffs have been about corporate greed. I always tried to minimize the speed in which we added staff because I knew there would always be a cycle," he said. "And if the money isn't coming in from the consumers on the last game, it's going to be hard to justify spending the money to develop the next game." Despite the current state of the gaming industry, Deering assured that he's optimistic about the future, even for people who've recently been laid off. And it's why, after advising laid-off workers to wait out the current downturn on the beach or as an Uber driver, Deering cautioned them not to disconnect for too long. You need to keep up with your news, keep up with the technology, because once you get off the train, it's much harder to get back on. Unsurprisingly, not everyone in the gaming industry were on board with Mr. Deering's comments. The games division of IWGB Union tweeted that showed the need for workers in the gaming industry to unionize. Without it, we're left with "let them eat cake," the union wrote. This story is a great reminder for workers to keep their skills current, don't hold too much or any loyalty to any specific organization, and to know your value and worth in a market that all too often wants to treat you as overhead and simply as cost to be managed and potentially cut. We will continue to follow this and all the other important topics and trends in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. That's it for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors.